This customer's bill just tripled when we found out what's really going on with this car. Let's find out why it's here and what happened. Let's get started. This is a 1994 Mazda Miata. Only roughly 40,000 miles on it. But there's some serious trouble with this car. It came in with a no start complaint. That's it. It won't start. It cranks forever. We're going to find out, show you how we found why it won't start and what you can do if you have a car that won't start. And then once we went down the path of repair, we found only more problems. It got worse and worse the more we dug. Let's take a look around this thing before we dive in, but it's going to be quite a lot. Let's go ahead and get started. Here's the front of this Miata. You can see some handprints in the dust where the customer or somebody or tow truck company or whatever pushed it. So there are some handprints on it. But it's a really cool teal color. You remember this color, Mrs. Wizard, in the 90s?
Oh yeah, this was such the in color during that era.
Everybody was trying to emulate that. It really is a cool color. It's not beat up, it's not dinged up, it has a few small scratches, it's a little dusty. It appears that it's been sitting for a little while. But the wheels even look nice. Original chrome Mazda Miata wheels, M edition it says on the side. Let's go ahead and take a peek under the hood. Take a look at our little 1.8 liter Mazda double overhead cam, 16 valve. I'm kind of sad that this is going to cost a lot for this customer. The price really went up pretty fast. I'm also amazed how much some parts cost. Even parts that used to cost a few bucks a couple of years ago can now be double. Just a simple oil change used to be $19.95 and now they're $30 or higher if you're lucky. And those rising costs aren't just confined to the auto industry. There's groceries, utilities, everything it takes to live. It's hard to pay the bills when everything is rising, except your paycheck. If you found yourself in a situation where your debt has taken over your life, the sponsor of today's video, PDS Debt, can help. PDS Debt has helped hundreds of thousands of people, just like you, take control of their money, pay off their debt, and get their lives back. PDS Debt has an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, thousands of 5-star Google reviews, and a 5-star rating on Trustpilot. PDS Debt understands debt and how to work with creditors. They have customized options for people struggling with credit card debt, personal loans, collections, or medical bills. It's so easy. Just fill out a quick questionnaire online and they will help you provide you with some alternative solutions to become debt-free. Stop living in debt, get your free assessment, and find the best option for you right now at pdsdebt.com/carwizard. You're just 30 seconds away from starting to get out of debt. pdsdebt.com/carwizard. Don't forget, that's pdsdebt.com/carwizard. Now back to this Miata. Let's take a quick look around this little engine. These are very easy to work on. It does have a timing belt, which the valve cover has to come off to get to it, which we will be inspecting that after we get this current job done. But as you can see, you can get to this little vacuum canister. I think it's a charcoal canister. You can get to all the hoses. You can get to the intake manifold. There's lots of room to get to everything on this. Very, very easy to work on. Very fun cars, in fact. I really like the Miatas. So there's really nothing under the hood that's really showing or glaring what's exactly wrong with this car. All we know right now is that it cranks and cranks and cranks and it won't start. I'll go ahead and demonstrate that for you. So just hearing it crank, I can hear that it has good, strong, even compression. There is a good load on the starter from the compression being good. And it's not, I guess the way to put it is if you hear it cranking and it's going and it sounds kind of random, you could have some compression issues. This one's solid across the board. I don't think it's a compression issue. What do you do when you're in this situation? Many of you have found yourself in this situation. You go to work, you're ready to go, you got a busy day ahead of you. You go to start your car and it just cranks forever, nothing will happen. On a modern car, the first thing to do is get a scan tool out and scan for codes if you have one, or ask a friend if you can borrow one, or you may have to go to a shop. But the first thing is to figure out codes. Now this is a 1994 But we were able to scan for codes the old school way on this diagnostic port. I'll show you. You can see there it says diagnosis. You just flip the little cap up and you can access the ports and get the data you need. On a lot of older cars, they'll have a diagnostic port there under the hood or possibly under the dash. And usually you just jump some pins and you can read codes. We went through and checked this vehicle for codes. There are none. It's happy. The computer's happy. It's just not starting. So now what? Especially on an older car, it's kind of harder to just look at data unless you have the connection to hook up to that old diagnostic port, which we do. We looked at the data and there doesn't seem to be anything out of order. Why won't it start? So they need three things to start. Just like the Metallica song, give me fuel, give me fire, give me that which I desire. No, we're not singing. I'm not a good singer. I am a good mechanic. I'll stick to my day job. I don't sing. I'm not a singer. But you need fuel, ignition, and air. We have air going in, I'm pretty sure. The ignition, we're not sure yet. And fuel, we're not sure yet. Let's start getting those clear-cut answers. You guys know the way I operate my shop, I want clear, black and white data before I move and make a decision on what should be done. One thing we can do really quickly to basically kill two birds with one stone is starting fluid. I'm going to spray some into the intake here, and that will give us an answer to many other questions. So when I spray this starting fluid into the intake, it's either going to start or it's not. If it does not start, then we know we have fuel, we have air, but very likely we don't have ignition. We would have to move on to pulling a spark plug or pulling a wire and see if there's spark. If there isn't, why not? But let's go ahead and spray it. If it does start, we'll talk about where we go from here. Let's try it out. Just find you a vacuum port, spray some starting fluid in there. Let's go crank it, guys. So we sprayed a little bit into the little vacuum port. I think it didn't get atomized enough. Once we sprayed it into the intake duct without the straw, then it got the mixture properly and started. So we saw it did try to run. It wants to go. If you give it fuel, obviously there is ignition. The spark plugs are firing. They're firing in the right time. We have air. We have spark. But we don't have fuel until we physically add it ourselves with the starting fluid. Why is there no fuel? Let's find out that. The next thing to do, which sounds crazy, but I've caught customers in the act of making this mistake, check the fuel gauge. I've done videos in the past to explain to you guys, I've had customers get very upset and mad at us because they brought us a car empty on gas. We add some fuel to it and it starts right up, there's nothing wrong. Save yourself a tow bill, save yourself the humiliation of getting caught that way. It was just out of gas. Check your gas gauge. We have done that and it shows a little bit over a quarter of a tank, so it should have some fuel in it. We did check for fuel pressure at the fuel rail. None. And the fuse is good. We checked the fuses. Everything's good. It should be running, but it's not. So it's very likely the fuel pump. We quoted as possibly a fuel pump, and luckily on a Miata, especially in '94, the fuel pump is easy to get to. It's right underneath the convertible top area, very easy to get to. But that's where the problems escalated. It got worse once we pulled the fuel pump. The customer gave us the go-ahead, yeah, put a fuel pump in, let's do it. That sounds great. But it only went downhill from there. Let me show you how you get to the fuel pump and what we found. So we'll remove this convertible top cover. It's just kind of a nice little vinyl cover top here. We'll put it here for now. Nice and soft. That's pretty much it. There's some carpeting, some panels to move out of the way. Once you remove this metal panel right here, there it is. There's our fuel pump cover. Obviously we already have it apart because we wanted to show you guys what we found inside. I wish other car manufacturers would do this. Some of them do, where you take the rear seat out and it's easy to get to. Wouldn't this be great if every car was that way? So many cars, especially from the 90s, are a huge pain. You have to drop the fuel tank, sometimes drop an axle, drop the exhaust. This is so much easier. So we were anticipating just a fuel pump. We had a new one ready. Junior Man was going to slap it on and put it in. And as soon as he pulled the cap off, he smelled it. It smells terrible. It's a good thing there's no such thing as smelling through a camera. I'll go ahead and move some of this stuff out of the way. Oh guys, it smells so bad. Really, really bad. Get this out of here. So here we have it out, and you can see the rubber is swollen there. It's supposed to be a nice flat rubber piece. It's swollen like bubble gum. The rubber hose on here, if I squeeze it, it's like a gummy bear. It's not the normal amount of rubbery texture. It's really squishy. Luckily, it appears that this fuel sending unit is still working, but you can see it's starting to crystallize and corrode and destroy this thing. Luckily, I think it's still working. How many of you have worked on an old tractor or an old car that's been sitting since 1968, and you open the gas tank and it's like, oh my God, it smells like varnish. It's so bad. That's what we're dealing with here. So let's take a look, guys. Now we have an open hole. Let's look at the fuel. It should be crystal clear in there and no sediment or anything. Let's take a look. Look at that, guys. It's orange like Kool-Aid, and there's an actual debris or dust or sludge in the bottom. It's actually degrading, and the solids that are in the fuel are starting to collect at the bottom. It is so bad. This happens a few times a year. We get a car in, and time passes so differently from one person to the next. One person can say, well, you know, it's been sitting for a few months. And then we get a car in like this, and that doesn't happen in a few months. That's 3 to 5 years or more. So a customer goes back and starts looking at some paperwork, some data, and they're like, oh my God, it's been 4.5 years. I didn't even realize it. So we get a lot of phone calls. People say, yeah, I've got a car, it's been sitting for 6 months. We know it's probably more like 6 years. People just don't keep track of time. I don't know, it doesn't recollect very well. And I get it, I do the same thing sometimes. This hasn't happened in 3 or 4 months. So you just saw what it did to the rubber on the fuel pump. It's completely disintegrated. It's turning into like a bubble gum. Guess what? Every single rubber hose on this car, and the fuel filter, and the fuel injectors, everything is now compromised. So we quoted $300, $400, $500 roughly to get this fuel pump done. It has now tripled, because we could get to where the fuel injectors are clogged. They're so bad they need to be replaced. A fuel filter is going to need to be replaced. We're going to have to drop the fuel tank and wash all this nastiness out. We can't just do it right here through the hole. The reason why, because you know all that's going to get splashed on the interior. We can't do that. That tank needs to come out and be cleaned and boiled and fully reconditioned. So you can see real fast it can get out of hand with the price. But wait, there's always more. Let's talk about the more. Luckily, the customer's been very understanding. We called them and thinking they might be very upset. No, they said, I get it. It's been sitting a while. Go ahead and do what you need to do with the fuel system. You got the green light. Go ahead. But there's more. Because even if we get it running, it's 31 years old. It does have low miles, 40,000 miles. But timing belts, yes guys, timing belts have a lifespan, not only in miles, but in years. It's usually 4 years or 100,000 miles or 10 years or 90,000 miles. There's a specification for each manufacturer that tells you how much time or miles passed you should be doing the timing belt. 40,000 miles on this car, I bet it's never had a timing belt in 31 years. So we'll get it running, get it to start up, then we're going to stop there. We're going to pull the valve cover off, and we're going to see how bad it is. The customer will very likely have to do a timing belt as well. We'll cross that bridge once we get there. But all it was just wouldn't start. And you see how it cascaded really fast. By the time they do this job and Then the timing belt and maybe some fluid services, we could be at $2,000 or $3,000. You're like, wow, I just didn't plan on that much. Don't get mad at your mechanic. It's really no one's fault except for time. Time has taken its toll on this car, unfortunately. Is it worth it? Absolutely. If this was some old Kia or something, no, absolutely, probably not. But these Miatas are going for a pretty penny. They're becoming a collector's car. They really are. They can be worth some serious coin, especially in good shape. Even if it was $5,000, yes, it's totally worth fixing all the things on this car and making it a daily driver again. We did check the tires. They're from 2018. We also noted that the...
Whoa, Wizard, seems to be God's interrupting our video here.
Yes. Is it supposed to rain today, Mrs. Wizard?
I think so. Hopefully nothing too severe.
It is very humid and nasty today, as you can tell. But the last noted oil change is 2018. It may have had one after that, I'm not sure. But very likely not. So it's been sitting since 2018. Boom. There you go. That is 7 years ago. That's very likely, for whatever reason, the car was parked and stopped driving in 2018. Now, it's definitely worth fixing, like I mentioned, on this car, but some of the older Mercedes or Porsches with Bosch Jetronic systems on it, when you let them set like that and the fuel system goes to varnish, it can mechanically total the entire car. You can have, some older Mercedes have 2 fuel pumps, an accumulator, a fuel distributor head, warm-up regulator, all the rubber lines. It can be $15,000 to go through an old Bosch Jetronic system. I actually had a guy bring us one, a 928, a Porsche 928 not too long ago. I quoted him 10 to 12 grand to do the fuel system. He said, "You're full of it, Car Wizard, there's no way." He took it to another specialty shop in Wichita. They quoted him even more, 15 grand. He called me back and said, "Man, I'm sorry, I thought it was, I was hoping it wasn't going to be that high." Just because you hope it's not that high doesn't mean you should go off on your mechanic. He said, "Will you please do it now?" I said, "No. You already threw me under the bus, bro. You said I was full of it." "No, I'm not interested in working on your car." Luckily, this customer is very pleasant to deal with. We really enjoy doing business with this customer. And normally, if your car's been sitting for 6 months or a year, we won't even take your car on. It's raining, Mrs. Wizard.
Oh, goody. And the sun's out. Maybe there's a rainbow out there. We can see it when we get done filming.
And no muffler Newton, listen.
Man, you guys are getting the jackpot on the sounds of Newton.
All kinds of sights and sounds, or at least sounds anyway. But this, normally we don't take a car on. It's been, like I said, 6 months or a year. We're not interested because of this. It gets out of hand really, really fast. Can have a very angry customer even though we didn't cause the issues. But this is so easy to work on. And the car's worth, it can be worth quite a bit. It's a Miata. The customer didn't know when they brought it that that was the cause of the issue. He just knew it wouldn't start. But just to let you guys know, if it's been sitting for 5 and 6, 7 years, we will turn the car down. We're not interested. Got lucky on this one. It's not going to be outrageous to fix. It will need, very likely, a full fuel system replacement. So I definitely wanted to get a video to you guys to show you this really sweet 94 Miata and how just a quick no-start issue can escalate and snowball really fast. If you're curious what kind of tools we're going to use to fix this really sweet Miata, a lot of our tools we use in the shop are listed for sale in our Amazon affiliates link in the description below. Click on that. If you purchase any of those tools, we get a small cut and really appreciate it. And make sure to hit the subscribe button because we have so many more cars waiting for work, which means more videos for you guys. Thanks for watching.